Why is cubing such a massive thing in China compared to North America or the West?
Well, I think there might be several reasons, and maybe it's because one, we have more people here, so then we will have more people to play Rubik's Cube. Then also, I think there's another thing which is important. Nowadays there's a lot of the young kids are like starting learning how to cube. That might because of like the kids' parents, they want their kids to be like better than other kids maybe, and they just send their kids to some cubing school, like some cubing association, to learn how to cube. And that's why we have a lot of kids like learn how to solve the cubes nowadays. I remember when I start cubing, I think it's in 2017. That's my first WCA competition. And then at that time, most of the cubers like are like they're from universities, or they're like maybe teenagers, but there's very few kids are competing in the competition at that time. But nowadays, as the like the cubing schools association, there are a lot of things like that. So there's a lot of kids starting learn how to solve the cubes.
Mm. Why is that something recent? You said in 2017 it wasn't happening. Do you know when all the after school programs and the cubing schools started to become more major?
So maybe that's because that's a Chinese thing. So in China, like the parents usually they want their kids to do something well and then get some feedback. For example, if their kids can learn chess pretty good, and they can go to a competition of chess and they can win a trophy or something. That's something uh, that Chinese parents want the kids to do. So that's one of the reasons that they send their kids to learn cubing. And the other one is maybe many cubers and like us, like we found that the cubing education, it's a thing that can be a business thing, like can earn some money. So there's a lot of cubing schools and associations in basically everywhere in China, and that will also influence a lot of people, a lot of kids, they are going to the school to learn something. And so because of that, we are like there are more and more kids and are like start cubing. Yeah.
Okay, so did the cubing school thing start like 5 years ago, 10 years ago? Because you said in 2017 it
Yeah.
wasn't big.
Yeah. I remember in 2017, like probably the cubing school just started, or maybe it's not started yet. And then I remember like the COVID-19, during COVID-19. Before that, there are some cubers, which is like young kids, like 6 years old, 7 years old. They start cubing, like Yiheng is at that time. And then I think 2021 or 2020 is probably the year of like the cubic school started. And then after the COVID-19, when there's a pause there, it's a huge pause during at that time, like 2020, I think. And then after the pause, I can remember there's a competition. It's called Singapore Championship 2023.
Mhm.
There's a lot of kids coming at that competition, like the Chinese young kid. And then with the result of 6 seconds, like 5 seconds or something, which is a huge like I remember at before that time, like 7 seconds is a good result, but at that time, like many young kids can do like 6 seconds, 5 seconds, including like Yiheng, Fan. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's because of that.
Okay,
Hmm.
interesting. So it wasn't really even a business until 5 or 6 years ago. All of
Yeah,
this
or
stuff
they
is
just
pretty
started at that
recent.
time. Yeah.
Hmm. Wow. And is there anything like so it's not like cubing is helping them get jobs or get into college. It's just like this is the thing the parents are choosing is the extracurricular, and now there are schools or academies for the kids to learn. So it's an
Yeah.
option and they can do it.
Yeah. So also like uh our kids can be sent to like a chess school to learn how to chess, or like Chinese chess or something else. like pianos. We learn pianos or instruments, or just learn some difficult like math or something like Olympic math. That's how they call it in Chinese. And then yeah, cubing is just an option of this. And also cubing is like a new thing, which is really cool. Recently, I remember the first ever WCA competition in China is 2007, I think, like 2007, in Guangzhou. So at that time, the cubing is like come to China. So that's actually a new thing for people to choose. So that's why we have a lot of factories in China, like new factories, new business, like cubing schools and coaches and everything. Like that's the thing. That's the time.
Hmm. Okay.
Mhm.
You just mentioned something. I have another question now. How
Mhm.
does cubing relate to the WCA in China? How many non-WCA competitions are there? How is the WCA kind of viewed?
Okay, yeah, that's a very interesting question. So I know in US, like I only heard about like WCA competitions, but in China, actually, the WCA competition is just a very small part of all the cubing competition. So we have a lot of non-WCA competitions. For example, GAN have the business competition, like the GAN SS4, and then like every cubing association, they have their competition. It's not WCA, but they just uh, organize this competition for their students to compete, to have fun, to get some feedback, and give them a chance to compete, which is a very good thing. And also, in many universities or like maybe high schools, we will have some cubing association, which I were when I was young, when I was 17. I also I'm also in organization of like a cubing organization in the school, and then I organize some competitions like that. That's only for the students in that school. And also, recently we have some new things. We have like a competition, like a serious competition that under China Social Sports Center. That's something like under the Chinese government, which is like a formal thing. I think I mentioned the GAN SS4, and then
Mhm.
like there's some there are some cube association in universities and in high schools. And then when I was young, I used to like organize some competitions in the school. That's only for a student in that school. Also, we have some new things, like the new series of competitions in China. So one is called the China Social Sports Center. That's something like that's a department that under Chinese government, which makes the competition feel like more formal. And the other one is WCU, from MOU, and then they create a serious competition, and then people can compete there, but it's not WCA, but actually it's very big. Like the competitions can sometimes hold for like 1,600 of competitors in one competition, which is huge.
Wow.
And also
Yeah.
we have CCA, like China Cubing Association. That's also another serious competition. And then we have several, besides of Cubing China, we have several platforms for people to list the competitions, which is maybe some other series. For example, we have one is called One Cube, and the other one is called Cube Comp. That's the direct translations in Chinese. And then people just can organize competitions and then list to these platforms, and they would just have that. So compared to WC competitions, the non-WC competitions usually is for like young kids, and then for them to have a chance to show like their results, like they have learned how to cube, and then that's their time to solve the cubes, and then to show the results to like everyone. And also we have many special events outside, like besides of the WCA event. We have FTOs, we have like IV Cube, we have Mirror Cube, Smart Cube, and also like there's different like format of in the competitions. So we have head to head, and some other like format. It's not like BO5 or AO5. Sometimes it's just head to head and then just once off. That will probably make the competitions like more people will be willing to watch that. Yeah, so I think the non-WC competition is more friendly to the newcomers. Yeah. It's like people can go to this non-WCA competitions and they can just be not that nervous, and then once they know how to cube, how to compete, and then they can just go to a bigger competition, which is WC competition, which is more formal in China. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so GAN does competitions, MOU does competitions,
Yeah.
CCA exists. There are multiple platforms. There's the China Social Sports Center, which is official competitions. There's a whole bunch of organizations that run competitions. There's a whole bunch of
Yeah.
manufacturers who do competitions. You
Yeah.
have FTO and IVCube and MirrorCube competitions. How many people do FTO in China? How many competitors have you had in it? Like, can you check one of the platforms that I can't see and see like how many people have done FTO in China?
Yeah. I can yeah, let me check that. Uh Let me check. So it's called one more fun. So in China, it's like, okay, I got the result is like less than 100 for now. I know FTO is pretty popular in US, like
Okay.
in US, like during nationals, during the NEC, and like World Championship even, they they have this event in the side, like another room. Yeah.
Yeah, we have 1,400 registered people who did FTO
Oh,
across like
okay.
all the US competitions. Okay,
Mhm.
so there's less than 100 that have done it, like on
Yeah.
your competition database. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
but
I was
that's
worried.
only
Oh,
in yeah, that's only in one platform.
okay, got it. So there's probably a few hundred. For a second there, I was
Yeah.
like, maybe there's like 50,000 Chinese people who do FTO competitively, and we can convince the
Yeah.
WCA, but maybe
Maybe in the
not.
future. Yeah.
Maybe in the future. Okay,
Yeah.
so oh man, I have so many more questions about all these the associations.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what is an association versus a school where people will go learn?
So you mean like what kind of association? Like the association who organize these competitions, right?
Yeah, so when we started talking, you said there's academies and there are associations.
Yeah.
Explain what the word association means and give examples of what the different associations do.
Okay. So let me think. So for example, in Shenyang, there's the city who where I study, and then there's a big association. I mean that's like a cubing kind of like cubing school, and then they have over 400 students there who learn cubes every day. And then they have class, like they have like the class for 3x3 is cube, 2x2, and the like this like how to say, like the president of this cubing school, they will organize many competitions for their only for their students,
Yep.
like maybe every month or every week. That's only for their students, for them to compete, to get their results, to learn how to compete in a competition. But like organizations, like for example the CCA or the like the WCU, they are like kind of like a business association. So their goal is different. For the association, they are doing some business. Like they are doing this for business, like to earn money. Yeah, but the other one is for their students to get more experience on cubing and learn how to cube. Yeah, I think that's the different thing. Mhm.
Okay. So there are groups who run competitions to earn money, not teach to earn money. Like they exist just to run cubing competitions and they turn a profit from it.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
I think not just, but this is probably the main purpose. And for
Okay.
some cubing schools, they organize competitions for their students to get more experience, to get more opportunities to cube. Yeah.
Hmm. Wow. Um, So earlier you were talking about how a lot of the schools will put competitions on just so that their younger students have a
Hmm.
chance to learn how to compete. Phil and I
Hmm.
were talking about this and we were like, so how do you go about finding the next Yihang or the next gang? Because
Okay. Yeah.
they're to us who can only look at the WCA, it's like, oh, and there's another one. Hansen just casually drops a top 10 average
Yeah.
out of nowhere. Like, how do you
Yeah.
find these kids? how do you make these kids and how do you find
Yeah,
them? Those are two different questions, but
yeah. So you know, in China, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of kids. So that's probably why we could like have Yiheng, we have gang because we have a lot of people. And then you mentioned how to find them. So we have a lot of like cubing schools, right? Like all over in China. And then like every cubing schools must have some students who are very smart. And then they probably their results is getting uh like very good in a short time. And then they can go to a competition that runs by some association like non-WCA competitions. For example, there's a association called the Chinese Kids, like young kids team or something like that. And then they have like a weekly competition, like just every week is online. So the cubers can just like compete at
mm,
home. So you can check the results because it's online. So every cubers that want to compete can show their result. They can do it. And then once you check the result every week, you can see, oh, there are some cubers they're improving very fast. Like their result is getting better and better in a short time. So you know, okay, this is probably like a huge potential like superstars in the future. Then if they sometimes they think, okay, this is a very good result, they want to go to a WC competition, and then they just compete. You see, okay, there's a young kid like 6 year old, and then first competition and get a sub 6 average, and you will know, okay, probably he's one of the like have the cuber have the huge potential to become like the world record or gang or Xuanli, or gang or Xuanli or Yiheng. I remember maybe last week or like a month ago, there's a kid is I think 5 years old or 6 years old, and the first time go to a competition, then he get sub 6 average. I forgot the name, but
that's
I know
Hansen.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hansen, and I think there's a new one. Is maybe
Oh,
it's
another
called
one.
Shen Yi. Yeah, like a month ago.
At this point, it
Yeah,
doesn't
so
surprise me anymore.
yeah, and I think in the cubing schools, yeah, they will have like a very like to train them in a very system way. So they will improve like in a way that people have success before. And they have very different uh like ways and like very good uh coach coaches there, and they can train them in a way that it's very reasonable and functional, and they can improve. And you know, if there are 100 cubers who learn and follow these steps, maybe they're one of them is pretty smart and they love cubing and they train like many times and work hard on cubing, and they will probably be the next Yiheng or Gang. Yeah.
Yeah. Why? Oh, okay. Why do so many kids know ZB? When did ZB become like popular to try to teach in China? And what is the view of like CFOP versus ZB um, among Chinese coaches?
Okay. So I remember uh the first person or the first two person who use CB and get a good result are Xuan Yi and Qi Xian, right? Uh, remember at before that time, Yiheng has the world record for a long time, and then he's using CFOP. But you know, they are probably the pioneer who want to try the new method because they think the ZB have like it has the more efficient way to finish the last layer. So they try to learn that, and then maybe they will success like now, or maybe they will fail because they're just probably not good at CPOP. But you know, like they are pioneer, they try and then they success. So now ZB is becoming a more popular method in China now. But you know, that's something like how to say, like you cannot say CFOP is better than ZB or CB is better than CFOP. Like I mean, if Yiheng train CB and then he practiced a lot like with the CB method, he can probably beat like Xuanyi again, or become the new world record, or maybe if Xuanyi learn CPOP and train in the way of CPOP, and then he can probably also get the WR. So it depends on like who used this method uh instead of just the method. But now you can see that Xuanyi used CB and broke the new world record. Probably it means that CB is better. So in this case, maybe the Chinese coaches will like consider CB more instead of CPOP. CPOP, but CPOP is easy to learn. So at first you can just use CPOP, and then at one time you think that's your bottleneck point, and you want to improve, and you want to try some other method. You can try CB, but probably this method is not like suitable for everyone. Maybe Gang loves DB, and maybe I can use DB well. Maybe Ihan can use CPOP better than CB. So it depends on who use this method.
Okay, so nobody's like this is better. It's recognized that some people will do better with CFOP versus
Yeah,
CB.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
How long do coaches give one of their students to learn ZB?
Um, how long? Actually, I didn't know the detail of that, but I know like how they train the ZB. So Xuanyi and Xishan, they are the first to people to try to use CB and get success. And then their way is so their parents will scramble like a random ZB uh, case for them, and then they just keep solving the ZB case uh, like in a row for maybe 10 minutes, and then they will just know and then recognize CB well. So that's the way for them to learn CB. But like how long? Actually, I didn't know that because yeah, well, I didn't know like how they train that. But this is the way they train it. But I don't know like how long they learned that. I remember I've heard from Gang's mother, and she said that it took them for several months to learn all the CB algorithms. But you know, when you just learn that, you maybe forget some algorithms. You maybe not very familiar with all the cases. So that's why they keep training like that. And then after a few months, they can recognize all the CB well and then do the algorithms well.
A few months is still dang good for almost 800.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, there's over 400 and something algorithms of CB, right? Like
Yeah.
460 something. Yeah.
It's nearly 500 to learn
Yeah.
just ZBLL, and then approaching
Mm.
800 to do the ZBLS plus CB.
CBLS. Yeah.
So it's a lot,
Mm-hmm.
like a lot.
Yeah.
How much of what's going on do you think is the kids being young and able to absorb quickly versus the kids being in schools with parents who are pushing them really hard? Like, do you think that if an adult went through the same training system as a kid, they would get similar results?
Mm, that's a good question. So I think the advantages of the kids is their hands are like maybe more flexible. But at the same time, their hands are smaller than adults. So maybe for a big cubes like 4x4, 5x5, 6x6, the adults will be better. Uh, but the kids have more time to do that, and then the parents can ask the kids like on doing this, and then if the kids is interested in it, they can do. They can train. They can cube like for a whole day. But the adults have maybe they have work. They have many like uh pressure on like life or something, or they have to spend times on every other things that cost them don't have the time to train that, and also they probably are not that interested in that. And if they want to train as the kids, they lose their how to say, like they cannot like focus, like the adults cannot focus just on this because adults have many several things. But kids can just do this and then training and then be better and better.
Yeah. Okay. Um, do any Chinese kids use slow controllable cubes? Timo on a podcast a few
Yeah,
months ago started like being like, why do all the kids use exploding 3x3s? And this has kind of become a joke that all the fast solvers tell each other. But now a bunch of us in North America are kind of insecure about like, well, should I be using a fast cube too? Is it just better? Does anybody over there use a slow one?
yeah. I've tried Xishan's cube. Her cube is super slow, and then
Hmm.
it feels like I add a lot of gravitas in the track and the piece, and it's just very controllable and slow. But I still didn't know like why she can solve it like that fast. And then the other like for Xuanli's cube or for Yiheng's cube, their cube is like super fast, and especially the Yiheng's cube. Like I feel like the cube is getting pop maybe when I turn it, but Yihen can control it. But that doesn't mean that his cube his cube style is suitable for everyone. If I use that cube, I know that if I use Yihen's cube to compete, I'm I'm getting like a worse result than using my cube because he's Yihen, he can control his cube, but I cannot. So yeah, if
Yeah.
like you mentioned some US cubers, they want to switch the cube to like a very fast cube like Yihen. I don't recommend to do so because you're not Yihen. You probably don't like this cube feeling and you cannot control it well. Yeah.
Why do those kids train with such a fast cube? Because
I
they picked that on purpose, right?
Yeah. So I think if you get a fast cube, it's better for you to have a high TPS. And also like if you have a cube that is very like loose, compared to the controllable cube, you have a better corner cutting and you have a better TPS. But this is based on your finger tricks. Like you can control this cube well. If not, then you cannot choose that fast cube. But if you can control it well with that fast cube, you have a higher TPS and a corner cutting, which will be benefit to yourself.
Hmm. Okay. Cool. Well, okay. I'm like gradually making my cubes faster and faster and liking it for the tricky finger tricks and the flexibility. I'm looking
Hmm.
forward to trying one of Yihang or Zhangyi's cubes someday and being like, wow, this is nuts.
It's so
Um,
fast. Yeah, I cannot control it.
while we're on the subject of this, you also designed which lubricants for the cubicle are you responsible for coming up with?
Yeah. So FC com like FC is actually my like the initial letter of my name in Chinese. So the FC com, FC rush, FC stealth, and FC glide, the four lubricants are yeah were invented by me. Yeah.
Okay, so you invented my four favorite lubes, basically.
Oh,
So
cool.
why, how does one become a cube lube inventor? What led you to doing that? What did you have to know to do that? And how did you start playing around with like putting together compounds to lube cubes well?
Okay. So first of all, I'm a cuber, so I'm interested in like making the cube getting better. And second, actually my major is chemistry. It's actually material chemistry. So I'm interested in chemistry and I like to do some like different experiment in chemistry. So when I use the loop, like before FC loops, I use some like silicone loops or some like Maru or DNM37.
Hmm.
Yeah, those loops are good, but there's one thing. I feel like the loop is very hard to clean. When I applied weight 5 or for example the silk speedy or some Maru loops like the blue one, and after I want to clean it and I just want to wipe it out, it feels like it's very hard to wipe. It's hard to clean. So I want to make a loop that is easy to clean, which means that it's probably like a water soluble loop. That's one point. And the other one is I feel like I love the cube become like a soft turning filling, uh, instead of like a crunchy hard uh, cube filling. So I want to just make the cube getting softer and softer, and that's the other goal. So become softer and easy to clean. And the other one, I want to make the cube getting like quieter. So because when I turn the cube, I don't want the voice, the noise getting too loud. Especially I want to play the cubes on like in the public area, like on train or maybe uh during the class when I was in high school. I just don't want it to become too loud. So I was thinking if I can make a loop that can loop the cube well to make it quieter. So with these three main purpose, like the goals, I tried to find some compound and find some ways to do that, and then like the water soluble loop, and then to make it quieter and also like easy to clean. Yeah, so that's why I invented all these loops, and these loops can probably they can fix this problem. Uh, until now, I feel like these loops can solve this problem. So yeah, that's the reason that why I invented this.
Hmm. So you're studying material chemistry. Um,
Mhm.
how do I even ask this? How do you get like the stuff, like the material to make lubes? Like, when did you start experimenting with this? Was it before or after you started working for the Cubicle? Which the Cubicle is another discussion that we'll have soon. But like,
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't even know what ingredients I would get to like start making lubes. Where do you get this stuff, and when did you start making your own lubes?
I think 2023. At that time, I was still studying my master degree in Singapore, and then I tried to get some ingredients from like the platform online, and then they just ship it to my home, and then I just uh, try to mix them, and then see if this material can make the cube better. Uh, but at first it's not like successful, so I just try many different ingredients. But before that, I did some research on how to choose the ingredient and what ingredients uh can help the cube getting a softer feeling, and also water soluble. So I just purchase random ingredients for a long time, for maybe like 10 or 20 of them, and then just try to uh, just use them on the cube. And if it doesn't work, I can try to mix it with other compound, and then maybe there are two or three ingredients. If they mix together in a very appropriate um, rate, then it works well. So that's how I first like invented the FC loops. Mhm.
Hmm. So how many tests did you go through for each of the four FZ lubes that the Cubicle sells right now? How many like prototypes were there for each of them?
I remember before I came to US, I already did at least 20 samples for FC Rush and Com. Uh, at that time, like I remember, like I mean, like those 20 samples of them can be used, but I just want to choose the best of them. And then before that, I used maybe at least 10 different ingredients to test which one can be used. But if it doesn't work, or I cannot use that because of some other problem, I would just uh like just throw it away, because some ingredients have like a bad smell, and some ingredients have maybe they are dangerous, they're not safe, or they cannot put it on the ski, or they have some stuff like that. So I just cannot use them. And then once I choose the ingredient, I have like 20 samples of them, and then I just choose maybe one or two of the best in it. And then when I went to the cubicle, I came to US in New York. I still have like 10, and then we just pick one or two of them, like with Phil, and then we discuss it, and then we just pick the two of the best one, which is FC Rush and Com. And then yeah, this is how the FC Com and Rush come.
That's so cool. How did you get connected with the Cubicle?
2023. Yeah, I think
How? What
April of
did you
2023.
did you reach out to them? Did they find you somehow?
Oh,
Uh,
so yeah, actually at that time I was still studying my like master of degree, and then I think I have a pretty good idea on the loop, and then I was wondering if I can make this loop and then tell people like I can like we can sell this loop because this loop is good. But if just by myself, I cannot do it well. So with this idea, I asked one of my friend. Uh, her name is Julia Sebastian. You know that, right? And then she told me that okay, so you can ask Phil if he's interested in that. And then she gave me the Phil's email, and then I just emailed to Phil and ask and say, hey, I have an idea of like the lube, and then I'm studying chemistry. I'm also a cuber. Can I? Do you want to try like our like a lube that I invented? Like I can like I can give you some samples, and then we can try and to see if we can make a cool lube at the cubicle. And then after like some call with Phil, and then he agrees that I can come to US to help to make a new loop, and then that's how I joined the cubicle.
hmm, that's super cool. So you reached out to them because you wanted to find someone to partner with on the lubes. So
Yeah.
then you not only design those lubes, you also run Cubicle China, right?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a super dumb question, but what
Hmm.
is Cubicle China?
Okay, so you know, Cubicle has a big warehouse in US in New York. Then if Chinese customers want to buy, or maybe some Asian customers want to buy the cubes or loops, they have to purchase it online on thecubicle.com, and then they ship from Europe to China, which is pretty complicated because of the payment, because of long distance, because of the delay of the shipping, international shipping. So we have a new warehouse in China for people to get our products easily from China or from other countries in Asia. So we have a warehouse in China. We stock the cubes, we stock the loops. We also stock many cool products like the mat, the there's a like a bag here, and then oh, and then there's some bandages and oh cool, I have that.
Yes, and these guys.
And this guys, yeah.
Yes.
So that's that's the Cubicle China. So we just basically help the US to stock something in China for people to get our product easily.
Okay.
And also we have our stores in China.
Also, we have our stores in China. Is that different from the
Yeah.
warehouse?
Yeah. So okay. So we have a stores called Taobao stores. So Taobao is a platform in China. Like the Chinese customers can easily get things and purchase things through this platform instead of website. If we didn't have a Visa card or Mastercard, like international bank card, we cannot buy things overseas. So
Mm,
and also we cannot reach the cubicle.com like this website easily without VPN. Because some some reason we have to use VPN to reach this website. So Taobao is a easier way for Chinese customers. So the Taobao store is actually uh, a way for the Chinese customers or Asian some Asian customers to buy. For example, we have Singapore customers, we have Malaysia's customers, we also have like Korean, Japan. If they can use Taobao, they can reach our stores and get things from us. Yeah, that's the Cubicle China.
got it. Super cool.
Hmm.
Um, so on one call I had with Phil, he offhandedly mentioned something about like a competing store in China that called themselves Chinese Cubicle. Like not you guys, like a copy store that had like
Oh,
they said we had people at the store that were literally calling themselves Chinese Phil and Chinese Row, and like they were just literally existing by copying the cubicle. I know this is like a Chinese thing, but how many cube stores are there in China other than you guys? Like how big are you compared to all these other stores in China?
I think, well, there are a lot of cube stores in China, but there's probably over 200 cube stores, or maybe even more, maybe 1,000. But they're only PyCube and us uh, are like the same style, the same function. I mean, like the PyCube, they have their special products. They have their sponsored tubers. Like they have their brand, and their brand have their value. They have their loop, and we are actually the same as them. But for other cube stores in China, they just like stock the cube, and then they sell the cube. That's different thing. Yeah, and then I also remember. I mean, you mentioned the like the Chinese cubicle, right? It's actually not like Chinese cubicle. They just invented some loops or some products that are very similar to us. That's what they're doing, but it's fine.
Hmm. Okay. Well, I was just curious about that. 200 cube stores is crazy, compared to how big the market is in America. I
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of PyCube's custom stuff. I'm thankful that you guys are able to stock some of it because I really like the big cubes that they do, some of the
Yeah,
custom ones.
yeah.
Um, okay, I want to back up a little bit to you. Toward the beginning of the conversation, you mentioned like GAN does competitions, MoYu does competitions, the Chinese government has the Social Sports Center.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me more about some of those like government run competitions? Like we we don't really get many details about it over here, but we know
Mm-hmm.
like MoYu put on some sort of big competition. And we saw some announcement that like the government and MoYu were working together on something. I
Oh
really
yeah,
don't even
yeah.
know any more than that. But like what sorts of competitions are those? How big are they? What's their significance compared to the WCA? How do they work?
Okay, so first of all, I haven't been to this competition before, but my friends and yeah, many people went there, and then I saw some videos and pictures and everything. So basically, that department is called China Social Sports Center. So that's something under the government, and then they want to make the cube like a formal sport as other sports. So they want to make some competitions just like other uh, sports. For example, some the chess, like or Chinese chess, or like running or basketball, something like that. And their goal is to make the competition become a formal thing, like a cubing is turned into a formal like a formal event in China. So that's their competition. And then how large are them? So I remember last month there's a competition in Beijing, our capital. That is the final competition of this series competition. It's like over so that series of competition has over 1,000 of competitors in there, and then some of them can success to the next round,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's several rounds, and then the final is in Beijing. Yeah.
So how many people competed over the whole thing? How many locations was it? How many rounds was it? How long did it take?
Uh, I remember there are 5 different locations, and then like 5 different competitions, and then from the first competition to the last one, like to the final, it's like a few months. It's like maybe 3 or 4 months during the whole competitions, the whole series of competition. And then in at Beijing, uh, I forgot like how many competitors in that, but for the whole competition there are over 1,000 competitors who compete. Yeah.
Okay. Hmm. And then the competitions that GAN and MoU put on their own, the WCA, not the WCA, the WCA. That is this,
WCU.
WCU. Thank you, the MoU one,
Hmm.
and then the GAN SS4. You said, how are those perceived among competitors? Like, do different competitions hold different weight to people, or is it kind of like these are all cubing things and they're all fun, and we'll go to the ones that we want to?
Oh, I think the SS4 is only for GAN sponsored cubers and some other cubers that invited by GAN. So they just so they're that one is a business one. So it's once a year, and then they invited their sponsored cubers from all over the world come to Guangzhou, and then they organize this competition to show people their sponsored cubers and their new products, their smart cubes and everything like that. Make some cool things.
Mhm.
And WCU is another thing. So if you want to organize a WCU competition, I mean the MOU one, um, you you can call this competition is like a WCU MOU Cup or something, and then with this you need to pay to them to have this like competition title, and with this, and you get helps from them, and you get helps from that department, which is like a a formal thing, a formal government department. So which which looks more formal. Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. Cool. And then earlier you mentioned that there's like an online Chinese kids competition every week. Um,
Yeah.
do you know how many participants like those online competitions get?
Um. Well, I didn't know that, but uh,
Wow.
I remember. Yeah, I remember at that time. Basically, like all the all the member in that team, the Chinese kids team, will attend this competition when they have time, like every week. So you can actually see like what's their result to know like how they good at cubing, and you will know some new stars from them.
Hmm. Super cool. Um, and then one last question I have. We're almost to the end of the
Hmm.
stuff that I was dying to know ahead of time. Uh, what? Why don't Chinese cubers do as many events other than 3x3, 2x2 pyramidings? Is it just that their hands are small?
Oh,
Is it that they want to pick one thing and be good at the one thing, and like 3x3 has the bragging rights around it? Or
um,
something else?
hmm yeah. So first of all, I think so. 3x3 is the main event, and it's the main event that like basically everyone uh care about the most. So that's why. And then the second one, the big cubes is actually hard for them to practice because their hands are small. And also another thing is that 5x5, 6x6, 7x7. In China, we don't have like a fixed uh, formal system to teach people how to learn. So 2x2, 3x3, we already have a very formal and functional uh, and way or a system way for people to learn to improve. If you just follow this way, like follow the how the coaches tell you, and then you just follow the steps, you can improve. Because many cubers have done this before, and this very functional is very good way to learn how to cube. But for 6x6, 7x7, if you want to improve, if you go to cubing school and say you want to improve on 6x6, 7x7, they can teach you well, but there's not a way that is super efficient for you to learn how to improve. So that's one of the reasons. But pyramids 2x2, they are very like easy cube, and also like IV cube, something like that. The cubing school can teach them how to solve it and how to improve it easily. Yeah.
Okay. So it's like the schools don't teach those, so less kids learn them. And because less kids learn
Hmm.
it, schools are less interested to teach it because they're not going to make as much money from it because there's less competitions for it.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, actually, yeah, if I'm not sure if you have any other questions, but I remember that you asked me some questions like when we first talk. So I prepare some of them. If you want to hear that.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, yeah. So I remember you were asking me how many people Cubic China. So I searched that. We have 27,648 people who have WCA ID, but actually, uh, like there are much more than this people who cube. Uh, they just didn't went to a WCA competition. So there are a lot of people are kids and teenagers, and there's just a few part of them will just queue for all the time and then uh, participate in WCA competitions. So many people uh, start to cube by some several reasons. So first, they will join some schools association. Uh, I mean that's some association that in the schools, in the universities, like in the schools where we go to learn English, to learn math, and just like outside of the class, they will have association like that. And then also they will watch some videos on like YouTube, but in China it's Bilibili and TikTok. Some short videos. They found that it's very cool, and then to to start to learn how to cube. For example, I remember in 2008 when I was like in primary school, I saw there's my friend just bring a cube like a 3 by 3 in the classroom, and then I just found that it's very cool and how she can solve the cube like solve one side just by this algorithms. I started to learn that. I buy a cube, started to learn that, and then that's how I joined cubing. And then I remember in when I was in high school, there's a association in our school called the Cubing Association, and then I know that there are some WC competitions uh, like outside of the school. So that's how I attend for my first WC competitions. So actually, we just have a lot of ways for people to learn how to cube, and we have many associations for people to know there's a thing called a cubing. So maybe that's why we have some top cubers because we have a lot of people. So uh, in China, the cube is like some people treat that as a hobby, but some people think this is like a thing that can become a business. You know, like a cool things to start to learn, and then they can won some prizes. And that, and because of there are so many beginners, not everyone starts with WC competitions. So that's why we have a lot of non-WC competitions. We have WCO, CCA, and then these competitions like it's more for fun. People just having fun in these competitions. It's not that formal. We just give them a chance to compete. But at the same time, many WCA competitors is from these non-WCA competitions. So that naturally connects to the coaching. So we have a lot of coaches. I remember you were asking about the coaching system in China, right? So we have many coaches, and the coaches are basically they are either they are the national record like in China before, or they are not that good at cubing, but they know how to learn, how to train the kids. That there are ways
Yeah.
to train the kids. I remember Yiheng's coach, uh, yeah, the guy who is called Xiao Xiao, right? And his 3 by 3 is actually like 12 seconds. It's not that top, but he has a way that can make every finger tricks and the solve and how to solve the way to solve uh to train the kids. So he can train Yiheng and then knows uh which part of Yiheng can be improving. So that is the coaching. That is the coaching system. And in China, the coaching system is actually a very fixed and formal thing for 3 by 3 and 2 by 2 and pyramids. Uh, we have a very like a fixed algorithms and finger tricks and like a fixed way for people to learn to improve. Yeah, so actually, like in China, the cubing community, the cubing schools, they create like a model can be trained and which can be copied. So if you train at this way, you and then the other one train at this way, in this way, they can improve. Because we have like create a model like that. And then the Chinese parents can let their kids to learn that, and then spend a lot of time in this, and then train it in a very standard way. That uh can help the kids getting better at cubing.
Okay.
That is
So
actually very.
all the
You go
schools have
first.
like worked together to come up with one set of algorithms, finger tricks,
Yeah,
curriculum that they're going to teach
yeah,
everybody that's as good as they can.
yeah. I think maybe they each cubing school they have their special ways, uh, but the general way is basically the same. I remember if you teach like the newcomer who don't know how to solve the cube, the first way is not a cross. It's like we call it like a flower. The flower
Mhm.
means that like a a white center with four yellow, or a yellow center with four
Yeah,
white
we do that.
edges,
We
right?
teach that in
Yeah,
English
yeah,
tutorials
like
as well.
yeah, the same like that. And then I think this point is very different from uh, like between China and US, because in US the way that people learn how to cube is to learn by themselves by watching YouTube videos and just talking and discussing in the cubing community in some group chat, like some like Reddit or Discord, right? But like in China, the reason of them like being improving so fast is because they have a very good coaching system. Yeah.
Okay. Huh. And it's all shared. So,
Uh-huh.
hmm. Does anybody do it
Yes.
creatively? Is there anybody fast who learns on their own that isn't like the factory line of like this is the best way to learn this and learn this and learn this and learn this?
Yeah, I think before those Chinese kids like getting so better, like in China, we just learn it by ourselves. So we just don't have a way that can share like how to improve, but we just discuss and we just communicate between us. Yeah. So before this kids, I think we have uh Jiayu like in 2015, and we have other national records. They're all learned by themselves, but that's um that is not. I mean, that's good, but this is not the best way for people to improve if you just want to improve uh in your cubing skills. Yeah. Another way I mean, another point I want to say is that I found that very interesting thing is the the atmosphere or the style of the WCA competitions between China and US, and maybe some other countries is different. So, based on the WCA regulations, the competitors have to be the staff in this competition. They have to be judges, they have to be the runners and scramblers in this competition to help the competition run. But in
Mhm.
China, we actually don't ask any of the competitors come to judge or come to scramble or come to work during the competition. Uh, Unless you register for a staff. So we will have a staff list that registered uh, and be picked before the competitions. The WC delegate and the organizers will pick those cubers that are experienced in each positions, for example, scramblers and runners and judges, and they are qualified to be the staff so that they can be the staff. And then the reason of that is because the Chinese competition, the Chinese WC competition is more like in a formal way. Is like some competitions looks like very huge and very formal with a very like a fixed system, a standard system. But I I remember I compete in US, and also I was study in France, and yeah, in bachelor's degree, and also I study in Singapore. When I participate in that competitions like overseas of China, like a Western country, it's more like a it's like a party, not a party, but just people having fun there. It's not
It's just to
like
get together. It's
formal
just a
thing.
meetup. We're all there to
Yeah,
have
just to
fun.
get together and meet together and then have fun and to chat and talk how to cube and then just have fun there. It's like chilling there. But in China, it's pretty formal thing. And then when you go to that stage, when you go to that table, it starts off, you get nervous because you 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 treat this as a very formal competition, and then every single result of this competition will be recorded on the WCA website. So this is the main difference between like the Chinese WCA competition and the Western countries WCA competitions. That's pretty interesting when I found that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that that happens because in America, the WCA competition is the only thing we have. If anybody
Yeah.
tries to make a meetup or anything unofficial, we have
Hmm.
so many WCA competitions in the US that people are like, why would
Hmm.
I go to that when I could do the same thing in a WCA competition and have my results tracked?
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so like at the North American Championship that got announced recently, they made a lot of the cutoff times for events very fast. Like you have to be, it's essentially like top 1,000 in the world, top 800 in the world for a lot of the events to be allowed to compete. And a lot of people were super upset about it because in their mind, the big competition is not only a big competition, but also a get together. It's like a
Yes.
convention and also the North American Championship. And like it's taking a little bit of pain and a little bit of a culture shift for the American like Western cubing to be like, okay, so we do need to make this competitive and sound for the best people while still keeping it fun. So it's cool that China has so many cubers and so many people hosting competitions that you can have the kids one over here and the GAN sponsors one over here and the semi-serious one for the Cube Academy. And then the WCA one is like the formal event
Hmm.
where you pick step ahead of time and you make sure it's super good.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I think the Chinese, yeah, we just have a lot of different uh type of the competition. And then like the WCA one we treat it as a formal one. And then the other one
Yeah.
we just having fun. We're just having
Hmm.
opportunities. We have just having like a lot of chance to compete. You can just chill in there. So we just pick one of them, become the formal one. The other one we just get together and have fun. Yeah, you mentioned the like the qualification time or the cutoff time. I think maybe if for some big competitions, like for example, like the China Championship, the U.S. Nationals, something like that, you can set it as a very, for example, like top 800 in the world, or like 45 seconds for 4x4, something like that. But like just for some small competitions, you can just having fun there.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we just said like 75% of the people in the first round can go to the second round, something like that. People just can have more chance to play to just solve the cube.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Cool. Do you have any questions or things you wanted to ask me before we wrap up?
I think I'm good here. Yeah. We have been talk about a lot of cool things, and the difference between China and US in the cubing community, and also the
Yeah.
competitions and also the coaching. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I think like the cubing looks simple from the outside, but the system behind it are anything but simple, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Cool. Well, one last
Yeah.
question for you then. Um,
Mhm.
what aspect of cubing gives you the deepest joy? I've asked this to
Wait, sorry.
everybody that what
Could
aspect
you
of
say that again?
cubing, yeah, what aspect of cubing gives you the deepest joy? I've asked this to
Oh,
everybody who I've done a podcast with.
okay. So yeah, I think when I learn and I mean not learn, but I found a way to know how to cube. Like for example, when I get the cubes, I didn't know how to cube, and then I just keep fighting. How can I make one side? And then I make one side. Uh, the joy, I can get a lot of joy from this because I didn't watch a tutorial, and then I just find out how to solve one side or how to solve a pair. Um, I can have a lot of fun here. Yeah, and then I can feel like I did something really cool. Yeah. Also, the other one is when I keep turning the cube, I can feel like my mm, mm, maybe I don't know how to say it in English, but when I turn the cube, I can feel a lot of fun there because the cube is very easy to turn, and then I can feel my finger tricks. My fingers works very well when turning the cube. Yeah, I can have a lot of fun here. Also, when I first success how to cube, like when I first finished 3x3, and then also my first time that I success in blindfold, I can have a lot of fun here because I finally said, okay, I did it. I learned for a long time, then I did it. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Satisfaction of turning nice cubes, learning new skills. That's great.
Hmm.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much for your time, Freddie. I know the time change is probably wild and you're running cube stores and designing lubes, but this was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much.